Hello and welcome to the SPS Seminar Series. I have with me today Nisha Kapoor, a lecturer at the University of York in the Sociology Department. She's currently leading a research project titled Deport, Deprive, Extradite, which centres around race, citizenship and the state and the concept of the war on terror. So Nisha, thank you for joining us. What will you be talking about in the seminar series today?
So the focus of the talk is really to take a number of cases, a set of individuals who've been accused of terrorism-related offences and who on the back of that have been stripped of their citizenship in one way or another. So either being formally deprived of their citizenship or in more informal ways having their passports removed. And the purpose of the talk is to really look at these individuals and ask and sort of reflect on what they both legitimate in terms of enhancing state powers to remove rights and entitlements to citizenship, but also what they illuminate around broader processes of dispossession and marginalisation.
Great, thank you. You touched on there that the war on terror, citizenship and passport controls are some of your key topic areas. So what really sort of drives your interest in this field?
So my sort of initial intervention or kind of involvement in this work really comes out of anti-racist activism. I began to really think about policing and the increase of policing particular communities, Muslim communities, migrant communities, black and ethnic minority communities, in a context that I would argue is intensified over the last 15 years in a context where commitment to race equality in terms of policy agendas has sort of weakened substantially. So whereas we don't think about race equality as a high priority policy agenda, there's been an intensification of policing. And I think the war on terror has legitimated an intensification of that policing. So that's really how I got into it.
Great. And how do you feel that your research has added and contributed to the field?
I think the sort of importance of the research is really to actually look at some of these extreme cases which haven't really been talked about within academic research very much, partly because it's really difficult to do the research. It's difficult to access subjects. It's difficult in light of the kind of broader government agendas around what research we can and can't do around the context of prevent. But what the research does is sort of take some of these cases and actually address broader intellectual and academic debates around the current state of race and racism, but also broader issues around citizenship, around equality, and around the kind of societies that we want to live in. Great.
So how do you feel that individuals suspected of terrorist activity should be dealt with then?
I mean, as I'll go through in the lecture, it's quite a sort of complicated process, but one of the key points really, and the problem with policing in this way, is that it's largely based on suspicion. So it's largely based on, none of the individuals who I'll talk about today have been convicted of a criminal offence. And so the process of policing people who come under the sort of counter-terrorism radar is largely based on suspicion, is largely based on pre-crime, preemptive policing, which in essence requires racial profiling. And so, you know, my response would be that we need to actually build a space where we encourage kind of dialogue, where we allow for open discussions around some of these very complex political issues to be discussed more openly rather than being closed down in the way that they are through the prevent agenda, so that we can actually have discussions around complicated issues rather than criminalising individuals because they might have particular beliefs that aren't necessarily mainstream.
That's very interesting. Well, thank you very much, Nisha, and we look forward to hearing the rest of your talk today. Thank you very much for watching.